You know, there's hardly any structure here in our main orchard, and I've done that deliberately because every corner and every tree is a new experience as you go around it. It makes me feel somewhat grounded, and every day I'll walk around our orchard and our garden just for the heck of it, walking around and enjoying it, enjoying our self-sufficient food garden. And in this video, I want to talk about this book, Grounded. It is becoming, or might be, one of my all-time favourites, and it's definitely going on the top shelf of my self-sufficient library. It's written by Liz Zorab, and I'm going to chat about it now. I'm Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, and let's get into it. Now, I opened specifically with this unstructured garden because a passage in Liz's book, Grounded, it's not sponsored or anything like that, no affiliation. Liz is a YouTuber, a gardening YouTuber. You probably know her, or you probably know of her, and you might even be subscribed to her channel. She's quite regular, she's a good YouTuber, and she's a really, dare I say it, down-to-earth type of person as well. But instead of rambling on too much, what I want to do is read you one of my favourite passages, and then I'll have a chat about it. This is year 2. So the book is divided into 5 years. It spans over 5 years, which is really interesting in itself. It starts with natural links. I haven't got my glasses. What an idiot. There have been moments when I've been struck by the perfect simplicity or the unspoken symmetry of how things fit together. Seeing the links between the elements, plants, soil, and wildlife allows us to support their relationships in a positive way. Watching many videos on YouTube, hopefully I was some of them that inspired you, inspired me to think carefully about how I could create an edible landscape at By the Farm and how it might fit within our space. I then took a step back to look at the wider picture here and realised that rather than create a food forest within our small holding, most of our 0.8 acre could be the food forest. It was a small shift in perspective, but one that has a huge impact for how I work with the land. Gone was the necessity to neatly segregate different types of plants, annuals in one area, trees in another, shrubs and perennials somewhere else. In fact, combining the plants into groups, guilds, had the distinct advantage as one plant could support and enhance the growth of another. I found it more aesthetically pleasing, and it didn't fight against my slightly messy nature and dislike of rigid, regimented lines within the garden. Reading and research added yet more information and inspiration and some understanding of planting distances that I might need for the food forest to work in our temperate climate. Planting for the long term doesn't do much to satisfy the urge for instant gratification, and as a result of wanting some instant impact, I've enjoyed using mature shrubs, annuals and short-lived perennial plants to add height, shape and colour in the garden. Well, there you go. I've dog-eared that page because it's one of my favourite passages, and this littered with really nice wording and inspirational type, what's the word? Come on, write it in the comments section. But you know what I mean. So I think this type of book would appeal. There'd be a whole heap of different passages in there that other people would dog-ear and claim as their own. That's the type of book it is. It's almost a how-to gardening novel that inspires you to want to get out and garden, but you can also use it as a reference gardening book on how to compost, how to keep livestock, chickens, how to garden. There's a whole lot going on here, and it's different. And that's what I like. And that's why that passage appeals to me, because I decided when we did our property, the only regimented thing that we would have was the veggie garden. I wanted that in some type of structure. But as far as the fruit trees and other plantings go, I wanted them scattered everywhere. I just wanted it ad hoc, because it might have been coming out of the military. It might have been how everything was regimented, and how Liz says in that passage, I don't like regimentation. There's a place for it, but I think in the garden, yes, there are some beautiful regimented and hedged properties and all that. I get it, and beautiful cottage gardens. But you know, the cottage gardens I like are the ones that are like cottage gardens, that are sporadic. They have some type of deliberate way of forming, you know, your small colourful plants at the front, nice big green backdrops and all that type of rules. But generally, what's the appealing part? It's that discovery of you're not knowing what's coming up next, and you're surprised and you're inspired, and you think something is really fabulous when you first see it, and you're intrigued by it. And it's not only that though, it's that unregimented is nature. If anything, nature is sporadic, and it very rarely is regimented. It's odd if it is. Put it this way, you might get the cockatoos hone in on a certain mandarin. If they do, they might make quite a bit of damage. However, if you've planted several mandarin trees around your property and not next to each other, they might not go and find the next one. There might be several reasons why they don't. It happens here. They might attack one tree and they don't see the other one, or they don't go to it for whatever reason. It's something about a glut and about too much in one spot that attracts pests, insects, birds, or nature to try to clean that glut up, if you know what I mean. So not only is it pleasing on the eye, I think, and adventurous to have this type of unregimented gardening system, it also makes a lot of sense for getting the best out of your garden and getting the best produce, gardening organically. Liz's book has a ton of tips and knowledge about food growing at her homestead, but it's more than that. It's also cleverly written as a story in sequence over 5 years to give you an insight, I think anyway, into what it was like over those 5 years in a practical sense, like describing a journey with a heap of travelling tips along the way. I get it, because it's a bit like what I try to convey in many of my videos. It's how-to, but it's also more of a trying to share the journey so that I can inspire people to get into it. And yeah, I know that sounds a little bit abstract, but that's the way I feel about this book. It really is a cracker. Grounded by Liz Zorad. Yeah, very, very good. I genuinely mean that. And like I said, there's no money attached or anything like that. I've been meaning to do this review for a long time, and thankfully today I've been able to do it. I'm not exactly sure where to get this book, but I am sure that if you go to Liz's YouTube channel, she'll be able to point you in the right direction. It'll probably be in the description somewhere. I'm going to leave some links below to her YouTube channel so that you can follow that. And of course, if you've got any questions, whack them down below, or just ask Liz yourself. Like I said, she's a fairly active YouTuber, and in my opinion, one of the best gardening YouTubers or food gardening YouTubers, self-sufficiency YouTubers, self-sustainability YouTubers, and a very passionate YouTuber that I know. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big grounded thumbs up and share this video around and get the book. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. And if you like these book reviews, I have got quite a ton of books on my shelf. Let me know and I can start doing a few more of them. Okay, Cheers.